This is High School Not So Much a Musical, a podcast that takes you on a ride through the peaks and valleys of a high school journey. Here are your presenters, Nitin Jaladanki and Ayush Agarwal.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of High School Not So Much Musical. Today, we're joined by a very special guest, Mr. Arya Chalasani, who is a up-and-coming actor. So, Arya, do you want to talk a little bit about, where you go to school, how you first got into acting, and all that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for letting me be on this podcast, Nitin, Ayush, and whoever this new kid is. I appreciate it. My name's Arya. I want to be an actor when I grow up. I go to school at Detroit Country Day High School. I live in Michigan. You probably got that from Detroit Country. So I'm in 11th grade, and next year I'm going to be senior, and we have to go off to college soon. So yeah, it's a little bit about myself.
So if you could talk a little bit about how your fascination with the movies started and how you went from just liking movies, which is something that we all do. We all like movies and we like watching them, to wanting to become an actor, because just watching the movies is something completely different, but wanting to have the drive and the motivation to actually be acting in the movies and to create the story for the people watching. So how exactly did you go from liking to wanting to become an actor?
Yeah, for sure. So my journey started back when I was like, ever since I was little, I kind of always had that little like passion for it. You know what I mean? It was more like when I was little, I would always, all of our families would all sit down, maybe like a Friday or Saturday, we'd all watch a movie or something like that, right? So every single time I saw a movie, I always thought it was real, actually, right? So when you see Shahrukh Khan beating thousands and thousands of guys up, I thought that was real life. Or when I saw, Spider-Man, climbing on the wall, I thought that was real life, right? So I always liked that concept of being a hero in general. So I always thought movies are real up until like I would say first grade or something like that. First grade, is when I took a trip to Universal Studios, and I actually learned that this shit wasn't fake. Like this shit was fake. Like it was portrayed in a way that it was realistic to us, but it isn't real life. You know what I mean? So ever since then, I've kind of had that that little small passion for movies, and a lot of movies changed my views on the way I viewed the whole entire cinema industry in general. And ever since that, I've just had that flame, and it finally got ignited one day, and boom, like I'm in this position now to have an interview with you about why I want to become an actor.
Okay, so one thing that our viewers should probably know is that Arya and I are both Telugu, so we watch mostly movies from Tollywood, which is like the Telugu film industry. So Arya, you said that there are some movies that have completely changed your perception on movies and acting in general. So if you could name like one or two of those movies, give like a brief plot overview for Rishi and Ayush as well as our listeners, that would be great. And how exactly they influenced you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll actually link this a little bit back to my last question, because there were certain times in which I watched these movies that impacted the way I viewed them. So so ever since I was little, I always but a lot of us just saw the movies for like action scenes, you know what I mean? Like many of us, no one actually paid attention to the story. Up until when I was about third grade, maybe, was when I started actually paying attention to the story. So up till then, I was just watching it for the fight scenes and for the the songs and all these Bollywood movies. But a lot of these movies, like I know, like Dear Comrade, one of my favorite movies, that impacted the way I actually wanted, like that really, a couple of movies in my 8th grade year, especially because 8th grade is when I was always serious about this, but 8th grade is when I actually started making certain decisions and moves that could impact my future, kind of. So 8th grade is when I saw Dear Comrade, and I saw it with a good friend of my mom's and of my mom and I, and we went to the theaters and saw it, and that was the first time a movie hit me that hard, because 8th grade especially was a year when many of our good Telugu movies released, right? You have like Jersey, you have Maharaja, you have Dear Comrade, all those different types of things. And I myself really enjoy movies that pertain to Telugu audience And Telugu audience revolves around a couple of mass scenes, songs, romance. But I also, with those Telugu audience features, I also enjoy movies that have a message that can reach out to the audience. So Dear Comrade hit me really hard because it had a very, very strong message. And the way you view message is different compared to the way that I view message. You know what I mean? So the message I got from Dear Comrade was, brother love, comrade love. Like, you should always have a comrade in your life. You should always have someone for you to look out for, and for someone to look after you. All those different types of messages. And it also taught me a lot about like sexual abuse and all those different types of things. That was in 8th grade. I'm a huge I love Telugu movies, and I would say one of the first hitting Telugu movies to me was a movie called Temper. And Nitin knows a lot about my love for Temper because there's not a single day where I go by without thinking about this movie. I watched it when I was about 5th grade, and it was the first story that deeply impacted me. Right, I keep saying deeply impacted. I said that for Dear Comrade and all those different types of movies, but Temper, and another movie which I'll get to later, really impacted me. Temper talked about sexual abuse as well, and rapes and all those different types of things, and the corruption in India with the police and all those different types of things. And that was kind of my first introduction to the way India was how the system is in India, kind of. It taught me a lot about that, and I really liked the way Junior NTR acted. I like this character of Daya, and so to explain the story, it's about Daya is a police officer played by Junior NTR. Growing up, he was poor and he didn't have a mother to raise him. So from what he saw on the streets when he was little, he observed that you can get money by doing things illegally, right? And I'm not talking about illegal things like drugs and all those different types of things. I'm talking about becoming a police officer and taking bribery from others. So he kind of saw other police officers do that when he was little, so that impacted his character. And growing up, he decided to become a police officer primarily for the reason to take bribery and become rich. So later on in the story, a couple events happen, and he all of a sudden has someone who he looks at as a brother, because he provides food for him, he provides shelter, all those different types of things. But then one day that brother commits a crime, and he raped his brother raped someone. So the decision that Daya decides how true he is to his character, right? So it's kind of that character shift in Junior NTR, who played Daya, that really that hit me hard, because it isn't every day that you see someone act like that. So just seeing someone act like that, and whether it was in a film or even in real life, it's perfect. But it just really deeply impacted me. That was basically what Temper was about. And I also had very hard-hitting movies, like, I'll wrap this up, but like Manam, which I saw in 3rd grade. I'm sure Nitin, you saw it as well. We all saw it in theaters because it was our parents, they grew up on A&R. It was a beautiful movie. It talked about the impact of family and how important it is, and how everyone should be there together, and how every day should be like a festival. Same thing with SVSC2, SCC Tamawakatlo Srimalajip. It was the same kind of message. Jersey, this is a movie that actually impacted the way that I view movies as a whole, actually, and what actually drove me to making a lot of moves in 9th and 10th grade and 11th grade. It talked about never giving up on your dream. Nitin, you saw the movie too. I'm sure it inspired you too. Like, it's just about a man that he gives up on cricket, and then like 5 years later or 10 years later, something like that, he just decides to go back into cricket for his son, and it's his journey throughout that. It's a very beautiful story. And last but not least, Maharaja, which is just about the farmers' crisis in India, and how a businessman steps down from his position to help his friend. So wrapping that up, I basically really, really like movies that have a strong message and pertain to the Telugu audience. And I don't need all these mass fights and all these Balakrishna dialogues, any of those type of things. I'm sure every viewers don't know what Balakrishna is, but that's basically the basic gist of it.
The next question I have for you is that earlier, or not in this, but in like our introduction meeting, you said that you got a job at a prestigious Indian film production company.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, like lots of sweaty little kids, like they're trying to get internships, because it looks good on college apps. Yeah, but like obviously, like you're not like a sweat. You actually want to, like, you're passionate about acting. So could you talk about like how you acquired this job and like what you did there?
Yeah, for sure. So, so over quarantine, right? Many of us had time to do certain things, right? We could use that time to, get better at what we want to do, or we could just sat on our ass all day and if we wanted to. So, so some of us did that, and some of us actually went out and made moves. So over quarantine, I kind of had that. I kind of wanted to do something, right, related to that. And I was like, what can I do? What can I do in this, because quarantine was almost like what, 10 months, right? Like not 10 months, but something around that time. And I was like, what can I do to make a move with all this time that I have? I'm just sitting here all day. What can I do to make a move? So I kind of had that idea. I was like, okay, how about if I introduce myself to a couple production companies? I was like, wait, no. Even better, how about if I have an internship with a production company so that I can get close to them, and boom, I have a spot in the industry. That's how this was all the way back in ninth grade. That was immature thinking by me, because I can't just go straight up ask a production company, hey, give me an internship. I'm from the US. I want to be an actor. I can't do that. That's unrealistic. So I actually told that idea to my mom, and she grabbed the belt and hit me tens and thousands of times, because at this time she was like, what is acting? No, is acting spelled as doctor, is acting spelled as engineer? She was always thinking like that. So you know how Indian parents are. It's very, 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 very hard to tell them you want to do a different job other than STEM. So she was like, that means I'll take the sandal and slap you. And then so over quarantine, I didn't actually make many moves. I just watched a lot of movies, and I tried getting better at acting at that time. So when I always had that I always wanted to do it, but I didn't have enough confidence in myself to email someone, and I didn't think they'd give it to me, because like, why would they take a 10 like at this time, like a ninth grader that lives all the way in Michigan, and that's American and that wants to go into Telugu film industry? Why would they take him, right? So I sat there in my room and I just thought and I thought. So in 10th grade, so last year or this year technically, in the month of April, I went to see my first Telugu movie in theaters after COVID, and that was called Vakil Saab. So before I saw Vakil Saab, how I said in quarantine, I was like, after production company, I was like, okay, how about distribution company? So I looked into a couple of distribution companies. I was like, okay, these are all distribution companies. I just exited the site. I was like, why would I want to have an internship for a distribution company? What would they do? All those different types of things. And I was like, no, it's either like I'm the type of guy that goes all in. I'll take big risks to get what I want. I was like, why am I wasting my time? Why would I waste my time emailing a distribution company, right? It's just they release movies in the US. Plus, what is there to do at a distribution company, right? So I went and saw Vakil Saab, and I was like, I saw a banner for the distribution company that distributed it. However, this distribution company was located in Australia or something like that. So I was like, after I saw Vakil Saab, I was like, it wasn't a movie that inspired me, but I was very impressed with the numbers it was making in the US. I really enjoy, helping others. That's just a part of my personality. And I saw the way that Vakil Saab was distributed in the US, and I was like, distribution's an interesting thing, right? You're catering to all the NRIs out here in the US, and it's not easy to make numbers like they did for Vakil Saab, or it's not easy to make numbers like they did for Bahubali 2, but they still did it, right? So I was like, okay, how about I just email a distribution company, because it's been on my mind since last year to do something. And I was like, okay, you know what's the worst that could happen, right? The worst that could happen is they say no, or they don't respond to my email. So I emailed 5 distribution companies. I emailed Great India Films, which was my number one choice. Great India Films is like the Harvard of all colleges, except for distribution, right? So after that, I emailed like Saregama Cinemas, all those different types of distribution companies, and Great India Films responded. So Great India Films, when they responded, I was in school actually, and I was about to take a history test, and I saw a little email from Mr. Soma Uncle, And he said, "Hey Arya, I'm very, very impressed with your I really like the passion that you have for these movies. It's not every day, see someone like me asking for an internship at a distribution company, right?" And he's like, I want to help you in any way sort of possible. Yes, you can for sure help us. Our first release will be Radhe Shyam. I know Nitin's probably Pooja Hegde's in that film. But so he said, you can do Radhe Shyam. And I was like, I don't know what to say because it's Radhe Shyam, right? You guys know have you guys seen Bahubali? If you guys have seen Bahubali, right? The actor in that is Prabhas. That's Radhe Shyam is an upcoming movie. So I'm like, to help with the distribution of a Telugu actor who made numbers and numbers and numbers in the US, it just gave me a lot of hope for the future. And hearing Uncle say like, "Oh, we'll help you with all your passions," it was like, up till that time, no one's ever said that to me. Actually, I haven't had much support in this journey of mine, and finally hearing someone say like, we're here to help you. It kind of just not hit different, but it was like it gave me a little bit of hope. It gave me like, okay, I have some cushioning, I have something, right? It really warmed my heart hearing that. It's not like if it probably sounds like you guys like out story like oh my god, I'm coming out, like I had support, like I'm gay, like no, none of that. It was more like it just to hear that someone, especially that lives all the way in a different state than you, hear that it was really nice. So yeah, that's kind of how I got the job, and I'm guessing you want me to go into like what I do there, kind of. That's my
that was my next question.
Yeah. Okay. So what I do there, so if you guys don't know, I think I told you I helped with the distribution. My first one was Gully Rowdy, because Radhe Shyam got postponed to January 21st. So Gully Rowdy. So what I did for that was I created the theater list for the US. I created like right. So I know in California you guys have like a couple of like AMC like Orange County, all those different types of theaters. So actually California has so many theaters. It's insane. California takes so much time to write a list down for. So that's something I just want to tell you guys, because you guys live in California. But no.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also just because like the diversity here, right?
The diversity here.
There's so many.
I mean, like the lack of diversity, because there's so many Indians now that there's a lack of diversity.
So coming back to what I was saying, so Gully Rowdy, what I did was like, how I created like an example of a possible theater list that we could use. So I included so in each location, right, we look at it as okay, level 1, level 2, level 3 type movies. Level 1 is a movie like a Bahubali or a Mahesh Babu movie or a Shahrukh Khan movie for all you North Indian folks out there. So a level 2 movie is like something like more like a B level type actor, right? So B level type actor is something like Naga Chaitanya or I'm trying to think who in North India. I would say like Shashank Singh Rajput, but rest his soul, he isn't here anymore. But those different types of things. And a C type movie is like Gully Rowdy, or a movie where the hero isn't as big as like the biggest star out there, but he's still a hero, right? Or an actor or whatever. So yeah, those different types of things. So that's kind of the list I created, and I sent it to him, and he made a couple of edits, and that was basically my first job that I did for them. So coming up in the future, what I will be doing, I will tell you, is it'll for upcoming with Radhe Shyam. I don't want to spill many details away because you guys will see it. Let me just say, you guys will see it soon in California.
I'm watching first day, first show.
First day, first show. Is it because we're helping with the distribution, or is it?
It's because you're doing the distribution. You're doing the distribution. That's why.
Or is it so you can see Pooja Hegde?
Is it Pooja Hegde in that movie?
Yeah, it's Pooja Hegde. So he'll see it for Pooja Hegde. Nitin's a liar, bro. He's definitely seeing it for Pooja Hegde. He's like, he'll definitely be in the theaters and be like, oh shoot, I forgot Arya's helping with the distribution of this movie. Oh, I forgot. Okay, back to Pooja Hegde's legs. That's what he'll say. So great India films. If they're watching this, I'm very, very thankful for the opportunity they've given me. Not a day goes by where I don't think about how I can make a hit movie play in the US, something like that. It's just that chance that they gave me, and it's just that, it's not 100%, it's not 100% impact that I'm giving on the Telugu film industry, but I'm giving that 0.000000001 impact on the industry, right? I'm giving that small impact on the industry, and that's enough to get me rolling throughout my whole entire day. That's what makes me happy. Catering to Telugu audience as a high schooler, I think it's really, really cool. It's something unique, I think, too. So that's just a little bit about the company. And Radhe Shyam, I look forward to it because I will be on some duties, and I already have started on them that I've never been on before. And it's almost like I like what I'm doing for the film so far. And I'm liking the way that Uncle is handling the film so far. So I look forward to all the upcoming future projects with great Indian films. Yeah.
So are you a fan of Shahrukh Khan?
Shahrukh Khan? Okay, so Shahrukh Khan is like, I like Shahrukh Khan actually a lot. I more like his old movies. Like I'm talking about his 90s hits like DDLJ, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Kal Ho Na Ho, Dawn, all those different types of movies were classics for my family and I growing up. I haven't really watched much Bollywood in a while actually, and for certain reasons actually, but I haven't seen much Bollywood in a while, but here and there I do watch Bollywood. Like I like a lot of self-made actors. I'm talking self-made actors like Ayushmann Khurrana or Rest His Soul again, Sushant Singh Rajput, or all those different types of Bollywood actors. I really enjoy watching them on screen. I'm a diehard fan of Ayushmann Khurrana, Rajkumar Rao. So I don't know if you guys know this, but your parents probably know these actors. But yeah.
So what I was gonna say is like I'm actually related to him. So if you ever want like
stop
to
the
hook up,
cap, Rishi.
Stop
the cap.
No, I'm related to Shahrukh Khan.
Oh, actually.
Yeah. So if you want the hookup, like I got you.
Oh, I got
Okay.
you.
Yeah, but
Don't worry
Ayush has
about it.
something. So.
Anyway, yeah. So we have heard that you are very, very good at rating movies, which is, I think, one of the important parts of a distribution company. You're right. You gotta market the movie well. So what Nitin's gonna do is he's gonna talk about some of his favorite Telugu movies, and he wants you to rate them.
And just give like a quick 5-second overview of the movie for everybody.
Okay, for sure.
Okay, we'll start with one that didn't even come out yet. RRR.
It'll be 10 out of 10.
Predictions.
Okay. I'm guessing it'll be an 8 or 9 out of 10. So I'll go 8.5 out of 10.
Okay,
or if you want
a quick overview of the movie.
A quick overview. I don't know what the story's about yet, but all I know is it's about Komaru Bhim and Ramaraju and the British and the kind of the impact that they had on the British and all this. It's basically India Revolution. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out the week before Radhe Shyam actually, so I should catch both of those in theaters. Okay,
next is Crack.
I would give that. So I'll actually rate out of 5 stars because I'll give that a 3.5 or 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And what Crack is about is just about a police officer who just goes and beats people's asses. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Next is
Why so low?
Why so what?
It was like a commercial movie. There's nothing like
why? Yeah, I know. So 3 out of 5, 3.5 isn't a bad rating, I would say. It's just like a commercial movie. It didn't offer like an insane amount of news story or anything like that. We've all seen it. Nitin and I share a lot of stories, but I'm sure you'll talk about that. I expect you to talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the bond that we share for that movie that's why I give it. That's why, yeah.
Okay. Next is let's do Maharshi.
I'll give a 3.5 or 4 out of 5.
Okay. And that one's just about like there's a really rich guy named I forgot his name. It's like Rishi Kumar. Rishi Kumar. That's the name of the guy. And then so he's basically like this huge business tycoon.
This kid Rishi's here over thinking like, hey, my name is
Rishi
Kumar for Congress.
Rishi Kumar for Congress.
Oh, really? Oh.
Okay, so basically the guy is basically a really big business guy, but then one of his like college friends, there's like a big altercation. One of his college friends has to go back to a small town where they're all about farming, and that's basically a whole movie about farmers movement and like the problems that farmers face and like the suicide rates and stuff like that. So it's a really interesting movie. I highly recommend it. I watched it only like a few weeks ago, so I really like it.
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up with one last one, and then the story about crack, and then the story about the movie I'm gonna ask. So Jati Ratnalu.
Jati Ratnalu, I'll give a 3.5 or 4 out of 5.
Really? 4 out of 5?
4 out of 5. When I said that, I actually did. When I just said that, I was like, no, it's pretty good. I give it 3 or 3 out of 5. 3 or 3.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay, I
4 out
want
of
you
5
to
is
describe the plot because there's zero plot to that movie.
Jati Ratnalu is just Jati Ratnalu, bro. Jati Ratnalu means just the story of 3 friends who go around and do dumb.
Yeah.
It's like us three.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you guys the story about crack first. So,
Oh my God.
crack was being released.
Okay, no. But before you say, Great India Films distributed crack, right? Great India Films. So if we're gonna talk about the story, Nitin, I want to say this: if any police come, go arrest Nitin first. Go arrest Nitin first. I had nothing to do with it. He's the one that did all this. And I didn't do anything. I just simply sat down and watched the movie when I had. Okay, so you explain this.
Okay, so basically, crack was released at the height of quarantine. So it was like February 2021. That was when it was really bad in India, right? But they still released the movie. Arya and like our friend, so Arya and I met through like this Discord server, and then we had like a group of maybe like 6 or 7 people who all we were really close and we really liked the movie and we wanted to watch the movie because it was the first big movie coming after quarantine was like in progress. And then all the songs and everything, they were like crazy. The trailer was amazing for that movie. Like I was watching it over and over again. But basically what happens is the movie was only being released in India. It might have come in the US, but the theater regulations were like so strict that like we didn't have the vaccine then or any of that kind of stuff.
It came in the US, but none of our parents let us go because everything.
So then basically what Arya and I and a couple of friends resorted to was watching like the not legal version of the movie, which is basically a guy in the theater in India holding up his like phone like this the whole movie and recording the movie on his phone with horrible video quality, horrible audio quality, all of that kind of stuff. So then Arya and I, we were up till like 3 o'clock waiting for that torrent to be released so that we could download it and watch that movie. And the amount of work that we went through to get that torrent, Arya was losing his mind trying to get that torrent. So it was like one crazy night to get that movie. And then Jati Ratnalu, it was I really liked that movie. The movie was so bad, but the movie was like the trailer, it was great. And then it was still during quarantine, so I was vaccinated but my sister wasn't, so my parents weren't comfortable going to theaters. But then what we did do was they were having it in a drive-in movie theater for 3 nights, 3 shows only. So we went for one of the shows, we went in our car, we brought food and all of that, and we were watching the movie, and then the car keeps turning off every 2 minutes, and we're like, why is it turning off? The car completely turns off and we realized the battery was dead because we kept on running the radio and the lights, right? So for watching one really movie, we had to like call the person to come give us a jump start and all of that kind of stuff. So that was the whole ordeal with the movie.
You forgot the even funnier part. The funniest part after that was the day after the things went to the drive-thru. No, the day before he was going to the drive-thru, where after he booked his tickets and it took hours and hours of convincing Nitin's dad to let him go for this drive-in movie. Naveen Polishetty was coming to California. The main
actor of the movie was coming to a theater 15 minutes from us. And I couldn't see him.
Yeah, because Nitin bought tickets to go see the drive-in. And even then, he didn't even finish the drive-in. His car broke down.
I had to watch when it came out on Amazon Prime.
I remember calling you that day. I was like, hey, Nitin, like, Naveen Polishetty's coming to California. And you were like, don't even talk about it. You just hugged with the phone. No. So coming back to crack. No, I remember this is in the late January and Sankranti season, and both my parents were in India, and I was literally crying on the phone with my parents. I was like, "Let me go to India. Let me go to India. Let me go to India." No, and I was like, "Let me go to let me go to the US theaters. Let me go to I'll go see Crack by myself." My sister will drop me, and at this time was when those Republicans took over that Congress thing, right? Whatever happened at that time. So my mom was like, "Hey, you'll get shot in the theaters with all these crazy Republicans running around." And then I was like, "That's just not gonna happen." She's like, "Hey, we live in Detroit. Like that's going to happen. Like something's gonna happen." I was like, "He's like, you're going to an Indian movie like at this time. Like something's gonna happen." I was like, "Okay." So I was crying and crying. And I called Nathan. I was like, "Dude, I need to see this movie." And he's like, "Dude, just give me like 10 minutes." And we both said at 3 a.m. of the day we got the torrent. And Nathan, remember, we both spammed each other. Raja, Mas Maharaja.
Mas Maharaja. I remember this. So basically, there was this Discord server full of Telugu people, and we were just spamming Mas Maharaja, and then they banned both of us from the server because we were spamming them.
This is right after we saw the movie. And it was like, remember Nathan?
That line is amazing.
And then it was like, Arya Chalasani, huh? Dude, me and you lost it, bro.
That movie was amazing.
Oh my, yeah, it was.
Okay, so this was part 1 of our conversation with Arya. So we talked about how he got in the movie industry, some of his favorite movies. We had a nice conversation and like a small game. But in the next part, hopefully you guys will come back. We'll talk about one of Arya's favorite actors and nepotism in the movie industry. So Arya will further expand on all of that kind of stuff. He'll give you some tips on how he wants to get into movies, and also some tips for aspiring actors, as well as some more parts of the actual movie. So thank you for watching the first part of Arya's conversation, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
That's our show for today. Now roll the credits. High School Not So Much a Musical is hosted by Ayush Agarwal, Nitin Jaladanki, and Rishi Sinha. Narration by Samhit Padala. Music from Louis Luang Relaxation Cafe, Tune Pocket, and Infraction. If you like the show, please recommend it to your friends and family. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.